Welcome to the Money Tree Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we learn from real estate professionals across the industry. They will share about how they got into real estate, the big wins they have celebrated, the mistakes they have made along the way, and the advice they have for anyone following in their footsteps. Money really does grow on trees. Hey everybody, it's William Hollins here on another episode of the Money Tree Real Estate Investor Podcast. I've got a special guest today, Frank Patalano. He started in education, works in retail as well, and now he's in real estate pretty much full time, but I'll let you go ahead and kick it off and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you, William. I love the name of your podcast. Basically, I've always had that little knack for finance and money, but I didn't always start out that way. I started out just, first I was working at Burger King, and then I moved up to Sam's Club, and then eventually I went to college and got a degree in teaching and got to give back through teaching history and a little bit of education and finance on the way too.
That's awesome. So what was your favorite part about teaching?
Oh, I love the kids, just seeing when they have new ideas, helping them think through concepts, promoting a little bit of success, but at the same point, being tough on them a little bit too. It's a harsh world out there. So they have to understand that hard work and dedication pay off.
Yeah, and also another thing to think about too is there are consequences to making mistakes.
Absolutely.
I think the sooner you can learn that lesson, the better.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, sir. So I know you have a few kids. You have 3 kids, and we were talking before the show about how you're educating them with finances. Could you share a little bit more about that and what you're doing to help them out in the long run?
Sure. So obviously, we speak a little more about real estate and business at the dinner table than the average family. Not completely. I mean, we talk about their day and stuff like that as well. I'm a big believer in kids having a lot of things to do. So they're all very active with scouts and karate and soccer and everything else. But one of the big things we started, I think when my oldest was around 5 or 6, is we started an envelope system, so that when they get their allowance, they can put money into different envelopes. And when we first started out, with saving, charity, and spending. And then over time, about 2 or 3 years later, we added investing as an envelope as well. Wow. So while they might make, so my oldest is 15, while she might make $15 a week in allowance, that's actually spread across 4 envelopes.
That's very cool. So what are they investing in?
So it's a little tougher under the age of 18, but they are investing in stocks. I bought a small hotel in April, and okay. They all get to get a high interest rate loan on the first few $100s in order to just get them moving and get them investing. So they're very excited once a month when interest payments come out for that as well.
Man, they got some cash flow.
Yes, that's
living right.
Well, I mean, my big thing is I want not just my own kids, but I hope everybody starts a small business. I hope that we have as many owners as possible. In society, small business owners. It's awesome.
Definitely, yeah. I'm on LinkedIn, posting almost every day, commenting, connecting, direct messaging. Oftentimes, and I'm sure there's a guy that you and I both follow. I saw yesterday he posted he makes $9.31 per hour, and then he had like a few periods, and then he said that's 365 24/7. So that's passively invested. That return is coming to him. So it's over $80,000 a year that he's getting from passive investing without having to do anything. So the sooner that people can figure that out in life, I think the better.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, passive investing is the main goal. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of work to get there. But yeah, I've started a bunch of small businesses at low money to start out, and a lot of them are doing very well. And some of them I spend an hour a day on average. So that's pretty close. It's not purely passive, but
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, before we dive into real estate, what are those businesses that you've started? I'd love to hear about that.
So, I mean, they're all real estate related in one way or another, but so we own a virtual assistant company. It's called RealAgentHelper. Basically, a buddy and myself started this idea that I'm big on networking. I'm big on helping other people. and we knew there were people in real estate that needed help. So basically, my friends use virtual assistants that I find from around the world to help in their business.
Yeah. And I will say from experience, I just hired my virtual assistant last week, and it's already incredibly changing just the dynamic of how I'm spending my time. It's amazing.
Definitely. I mean, you know that you're worth good money every hour for the things that you do. And if you have someone else you can help bring up along the way by paying them a salary and they can get more stuff out of your hands into theirs, it's perfect.
Yeah. And so I think to kind of to highlight that a little bit more, so we could talk about the asset management fees and some of the fees associated with syndication. A lot of people are asking questions, like why does the team get those fees? And I think that is a prime example of why, we are allowed to get fees is like, hey, like I need to be spending my time, talking to brokers. I need to be spending my time talking to lenders, reading articles, educating myself so that I can be better at helping other people. And there's some of those items that a VA can do, like upload to YouTube or, maybe post some stuff on social media. It's really helpful and I think it helps out investors as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when you talk about the asset management fee, I mean, it's our job to have the weekly calls and to see the vacancy numbers and have to make some big capex decisions. And while when you first have that syndication, everything looks rosy on the pitch deck. Once things just start rolling, there's always these problems that show up that you would never expect. And we have to make the tough decisions to help everybody make money.
Definitely. That's cool. So I guess to talk a little bit more about your portfolio, you mentioned a hotel earlier. Where is that located?
So the hotel's in Punta Cana. It's a boutique hotel, run Dominican Republic, about a 4-minute walk to the beach. I mean,
Wow,
that's just
that's incredible.
yeah. I mean, we didn't just start with that though. We started just buying a vacant lot in Western Massachusetts, and then moved on to buy a triplex in just outside of Providence, Rhode Island. And every year we tried to buy one or two small things and then gradually grow it.
Love that. That's a good story. So now how many doors do you have now and what markets are you located in?
So I'm in Rhode Island. So locally, I have about 40 doors. In New Hampshire, I have another 6 doors. And then in the syndication space, I'm a GP on, off the top of my head, I don't even know, hundreds of units. And then I'm an LP in hundreds more units. Where I'm a GP in Idaho, Texas, New Mexico,
Oh,
South
Texas.
Carolina. You like Texas? Yeah, yeah.
Ah, I
South
love Texas.
Carolina. And then I this is my second time being a GP in Texas. So I love I love Texas. My wife's a big country music fan anyway, so it works out.
Oh
And then
yeah.
on the LP side, I mean, I'm a little bit I'll call it market agnostic in the fact that I don't care what markets in as long as it's not in the super hot markets. I try to stay out of the Miamis. I'm bigger on places that cash flow versus places that are just going to appreciate.
Definitely, yeah. So walk us through why you prefer cash flow over appreciation.
So I'm not saying that I wouldn't like appreciation. I would say that appreciation's like that bonus that you hope for, but when you buy a property, you really have to make sure that it can afford all the different expenses when you buy. So I just worry when you buy something that you're buying something that loses money from day one. And if the appreciation doesn't happen or something happens with, like right now, interest rates, cap rates, anything else, it's much harder to hold something that's losing money. But even if you're making a small amount of money, you can hold it virtually forever as long as it can pay for all of its expenses.
Yeah, exactly. So what is that metric that is used to determine if a property is going to be able to pay the debt and all those things? It's called the debt service coverage ratio.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
DSCR. Yeah, the debt service coverage ratio. Usually, banks require what they call 1.25, which means that all the rents you get in should be 25% more than the mortgage payment itself. And that's helping to cover some of the other small expenses. Even at 1.25, which is the bare minimum for many banks, that can still be tough. But especially in a tight market, that's what you'd have to go for as a minimum. no matter what. Obviously, if you can be at 1.5 or 1.75, you give yourself a lot more playroom.
Right, yeah, for sure. So, one thing about, just to describe to the listeners a little bit, so as that debt coverage ratio goes up, that means that you are utilizing less leverage, right? So you're
More
a lot
importantly,
of
it just
times,
means compared to the mortgage payment, you have more income coming in. So, I mean, you might still be around the same leverage percentage if you are able to raise under market rents or something like that.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that makes sense. But that's one way to change the debt coverage ratio is to change the portion of financing.
Well, yeah, that's definitely true too. But then, I mean, especially if you're talking in the syndication game, the less you leverage, the lower your IRR,
Right.
the lower some other key numbers. So it's a balance.
Yeah. And that's why you have teams, doing this. It's not one person doing it. It's not people just starting out. You've got experts in the room, doing the calculations and figure out exactly where you want to line up on that stuff.
Yeah, I would say you'd want to have everybody to be qualified with some numbers, but you definitely want someone that's more on the expert doing the underwriting and doing some of the math, especially if they love it. I'm more of the networker. Everybody has a different position on the team.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Passive investors in real estate are able to receive a check every month. Some people call that mailbox money. We say money really does grow on trees. Visit the website at biggerpictureholdings.com, where we have a ton of free resources to help you learn more about planting your very own money tree.
So we talked a little bit about syndication. We talked about your virtual assistant. You also got a podcast. So, how are you getting your name out there? How are you building relationships and networking and continuing to hone your craft at this point?
So, I mean, I run my local RIA, so I'm always out there networking each and every day. We do post things on social media. I am going to 2 national conferences this month alone.
Awesome.
And you're always networking and educating, building relationships, growing that way. So that's always helpful. I mean, the Cashflow Kings podcast is just another way for us to give back, to help educate people on different strategies. We had an 18-year-old wholesaler the other day that came on. Oh, he's now 20, but he started wholesaling at 18. It's like, guys, no excuses from anybody. We had someone a few months ago that's visually impaired who flips houses. And one of the big things is like a lot of people make excuses on why they can't invest in real estate. No money, no time, no this, no that. But there are plenty of different options.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm hopefully wrapping up physical therapy on my ankle for the second time. And I was talking with my roommate last night, talking about, man, I want to get back into lifting weights. And, I'm like, I just want to wait until I get my ankle healed up. And he's like, man, like, why wait? Like, what's stopping you from going to work out tomorrow? And he's like, I'm literally gonna text you tomorrow after work and see if you went and worked out. So it's like it's in my head. Like those excuses are in my head, and I think it's the same thing with real estate. It's like, like there's always gonna be excuses, there's always gonna be something holding you back. But I like to look at the stories of success and I like to educate myself and I'm not gonna do anything that I don't feel comfortable with. I'm gonna, be methodical about it, but I have heavily invested in real estate. Basically, I'm completely invested in real estate at this point with all of my money, basically. So,
There you go. No, I mean, I would say I'm a little too overhyped just into real estate. I'm probably 95% invested in real estate right now, but I mean, I love it. Obviously I'm pretty good at it, and people keep asking me for help, and I'll keep helping them too, which helps me grow as well. A funny
oh yeah,
story related
so true.
to what's holding you back. About 3 or 4 years ago on Bigger Pockets, I made a post called "So What's Holding You Back in Real Estate," and it hit thousands of comments, and basically it came down to about 3 things. I mean, mostly excuses, not completely, but no time, no money, or no experience are the main 3. So what I did is I called something called the 3-legged stool approach, that in real estate, you have to try to be good at one of those 3 things: money, time, or experience. If you're good at one of those things, you can just find partners for the other 2. Okay. And then finally, I the 3-legged stool, we had the seat on top, which is networking. And you can become very successful in real estate by pushing one of those and building a team for the rest.
Man, I love that. Yeah, I'd love to talk more about that. And one thing that I heard recently, I went to a national conference here in Dallas, AIM.NATCon a few weeks ago,
Oh yeah,
and the
I saw
biggest
some
thing that
pictures.
yeah, it was awesome. The biggest takeaway that I had is, changing the way that I'm talking to people I'm trying to help, and trying to really understand their problems, and you just mentioned it's like lack of time, lack of money, or lack of experience for getting into real estate. You know, but I think you got to understand the benefits, and it's like, hey, like this can give you more time. These can change your life. Like it's just amazing. And just being able to understand their problems and help them see how real estate really can open those doors.
Sometimes you'll see on social media the concept of choose your hard. You can choose to be fit, you can choose not to be fit. You got to choose your hard. Either if you're fit, you got to work out all the time. If you're not fit, then you'll have some medical issues and stuff like that. Choose your hard, you know?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah. On that note, like I saw a tweet by Odell Beckham Jr. the other day, and I literally sent it to my roommate, the same roommate I was talking with. It's just like, you can choose like the hard path or the easy path, but either way, it's going to be a choice, and it's going to have lasting impact on your life. So,
Yeah. I mean, we know that in so many ways. There's times where, like I said before, there's times where I was cash poor in some ways. It caused me to go out there and spend less money just frivolously, but it was part of a risk in order to grow my own real estate portfolio, in order to have long-term cash flow and more passive income.
yes, sir, definitely. So I guess the last few questions, I always want to talk about a loss or a mistake, lesson that you've learned, something that you've had happen, and then want to finish up on a highlight of just celebrating one of the biggest wins that you've had in real estate as well.
Okay, yeah. So, example. I mean, I can give you so many examples of losses. I have a belief that if you don't lose in real estate once in a while, then you're not pushing yourself hard enough. Um, I I had a commercial building in one of my local cities over here. I made a small mistake on it. We missed that it wasn't zone commercial anymore. So while it looks commercial and it was commercial for many, many years, it was vacant, and it was no longer grandfathered as commercial, so it was a
Wow.
residential space. And when I tried to put certain tenants in there, we had a battle with the neighborhood, and in the end, I lost money on it, and we ended up just turning it into a single family house and moving on. I think we lost, I think 25 or $30,000 on that deal. And now at the same point, if you lose once in a while, I mean, we've made more than that on other deals. But I mean, even my first deal, that vacant lot I bought out in Western Massachusetts, um, you, I'm really a firm believer in partners and having people that have more experience than you do in certain things. So on that deal, I thought I knew enough about building houses. By the way, I'd never built a house before, but
Uh-huh.
I read some books and learned some things. And cocky young kid, it's like, yeah, we can do this. And come to find out, the under the ground, you needed a well and septic there. So
Okay.
it was on a rock bed. It was all shale underneath it. So you would either have to blast away or do above ground septic system or something crazy. We ended
Oh,
up
wow.
losing.
That sounds nice.
We never built that property. Instead, I think we
Yeah.
lost about $20,000 selling the lot to somebody else.
Yeah, but each of those mistakes, I think that hardens you and it motivates you and it makes you a better, realtor and real estate person in the future.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can learn mistakes, either your own mistakes or somebody else's mistakes. It builds experience, it builds knowledge. So do I turn down a lot of investment deals? Yes, all the time. 95% of them. But at the same point, I have a lot of deals coming at me. So I think Warren Buffett talks about the fact that you can swing after swing after swing, but you don't need to be successful in every one, but you need to shoot for the best ones.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think along the lines of networking as well, like something I've realized is like, hey, like I'm not trying to talk to everybody in the room, and I'm not trying to meet everybody, I'm trying to build really, really good, deep, strong friendships and foundations, with a few right people, and I think that's going to really be beneficial long term.
Yeah.
It helps me focus.
They talk about like the concept of do you want to have 1,000 friends or do you want to have like 10 great, strong friends and connections and followers? Because that's all you need. You can have 1,000 friends and never do a deal with you. I have tons of friends. I mean, I love my friendships and everything else, but then you also have those people that you are masterminding with and you feel philosophically the same with and stuff like that. Those are the connections you really want to build, those long-term lasting ones.
Sure, definitely. I agree with that completely. Last thing is, tell us about some of the biggest wins. I want to shine a spotlight on you for a second.
All right, so the biggest win, so I'll talk about the one that we did in Wichita Falls, because you have a lot of people in the Texas area. Basically, I was at a conference in Dallas last year, and I had a friend that was buying a large apartment complex, and she needed some help. She didn't have enough money raised, and she sees me on social media. And while I've been on her podcast and we've hung out a little bit, we were never really super close. And she had $100,000 hard into a deal that she was about to lose all that money. I talk about losing 20,000, 30,000, whole different level when you're losing six figures on a deal. And what happened was I said, hey, listen, I'll help you in any way I can. I'm in, get an extension. She got the extension, and we were going to close on time no matter what. And while I had to call my entire network, I had to shake out couch cushions for coins. I put over $500,000 of my own money in that deal. And I brought friends to bring another $500,000, and we put $1 million in that deal to help save her deal, which was really awesome. It's a great win. It's a great property. I've been out since down to Dallas and all the way up to Wichita Falls. I have a picture of one of the limited partners swinging on the swing set. We were hanging out there and stuff like that. And yeah, it was very exciting. And I would say I built a friendship for life out of that. And I have a lot of happy campers on the deal as well. I actually went to breakfast with another one of the limited partners today on that deal, and he loves it. He's excited to be a passive investor in Texas all the way out here in Rhode Island.
So cool, yeah, and like you said, those friendships, like they'll be there for a lifetime, and that's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Angel Williams for giving me the opportunity on that one.
Yeah, shout out. She connected us too, so she's awesome. Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much, Frank. I really enjoyed having you on as a guest today.
No, thank you as well. I mean, I love it. Maybe we'll get you down to Punta Cana sometime. It's a fun place. I've been down there twice. I'm going down again in December, so
Hey, that'd be so cool. So how can the people find you? How can they connect with you?
So on Facebook, Frank Patalano. On social media, especially Instagram, we are the Cash Flow Kings. Motivate, educate, duplicate. Always trying to help people out. And we're all over all the platforms, somewhere or another, Apple, iTunes, and everything else.
Sir, those links will be in the comments. Go follow them. All right, thanks, guys.
Like and subscribe below. A new episode will air every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Are you looking for more content? Visit our website, biggerpictureholdings.com. And remember, money really does grow on trees.